The first thing I noticed wasn't the man. It was her smile. That soft, private smile she only used on me, the one she used on our wedding day, the one she used on nights when she'd rest her head on my chest and whisper that she loved me more than her own heartbeat. That smile. Except tonight, it wasn't mine. I froze halfway through the restaurant's entrance, my hand still pushing the glass door. My lungs forgot their job. My heart kept pounding, but each beat felt like a bruise forming under my ribs. Katie was laughing at something the stranger said. Not just laughing, leaning in, eyes warm, fingers brushing her hair behind her ear like she wanted him to see her clearly. She never did that with anyone else. Not even with her friends. That gesture was intimate. Personal. Reserved. Mine. I felt something crack, not a dramatic shatter, but a thin split down the center of something I thought was unbreakable. My first instinct was to turn around and walk out, pretend I never saw anything. My second instinct was to march straight to their table and demand an explanation. My body couldn't decide between fight or flight, so instead I just stood there like a man watching the first flames of a fire he didn't know his house could catch. Katie looked beautiful. Soft curls falling over her shoulders, a navy dress that hugged her waist, the necklace I bought her on our 5th anniversary. Everything about her screamed familiarity, except the energy in her face. She looked alive. And something inside me whispered, she hasn't looked at you like that in months. I swallowed the bitterness tasting like metal on my tongue. The man sitting across from her was mid-30s, sharp jawline, sleeve rolled button down like he had just walked out of a casual but expensive office. He wasn't touching her, but he didn't need to. His presence alone felt like an intrusion, a trespassing against the life I thought belonged only to the two of us. Katie saw me first. Her smile didn't fade instantly. It flickered, froze, then rearranged itself into something neutral. Her shoulders tensed. Her eyes widened a fraction, not enough to seem guilty, just startled. Or caught. Caught doing what? I didn't know yet. Ethan, she said softly as I approached. The man turned to look at me, his expression unreadable. Calm, maybe curious, maybe something else entirely. Hey, I forced out, my voice dry. Didn't know you were already here. You're early, she said quickly, too quickly. We were just talking. We. The word sliced. Right, I murmured. Mind introducing me? She hesitated, half a second, but enough. This is Daniel, she said. His, someone from work. Someone from work. Not co-worker. Not teammate. Not boss. Someone. I nodded slowly, extending a hand I didn't want to extend. Nice to meet you. Daniel stood and shook it firmly, politely, as if nothing about this situation was suffocatingly wrong. You too. Katie's told me a lot about you. A cold knot twisted in my stomach. Has she? Katie shot him a look I couldn't decipher. Warning. Fear. Embarrassment. The silence between the three of us felt like a rope pulled tight. Well, she said abruptly, grabbing her purse. We should head home. Reservation isn't for another hour. Daniel cleared his throat. I should, probably go. Nice running into you both. He left with a nod, walking through the restaurant doors as casually as if he'd just finished a normal conversation rather than being part of the most destabilizing moment of my marriage. The instant he stepped out, I turned to Katie. What was that? She blinked. Ethan, please. Not here. No. Exactly here. A couple nearby turned their heads. Katie lowered her voice to a whisper so tense it nearly trembled. He's just a friend from work. I didn't think it was a big deal. You smiled at him like, my throat tightened. I couldn't finish the sentence. She exhaled shakily. Can we talk outside? We stepped out into the cool evening air. Cars passed by, lights reflecting off wet pavement. My heart was pounding in my ears. Katie pulled her coat tighter around herself. You're overreacting. The words hit me like a slap. Overreacting. I repeated slowly. I walk in and see you sharing that smile with another man, and I'm overreacting. It wasn't what you think, she insisted. We were just talking about work. He's been helping me with a project. That's all. Her eyes darted, left, right, everywhere but at me. Guilt lived in that glance. Or fear. Or something dangerously in between. You didn't look like co-workers, I said quietly. You looked close. She flinched. That's not fair. Neither is you acting like I'm imagining things. She took a step back like she needed distance to breathe. Ethan, I can't do this right now. You're angry, and I get it, but I promise nothing is happening. A pause. Nothing has happened. The slight difference in tense made my pulse spike. I felt myself unraveling, trying to piece together months of small strange moments, late nights, new outfits, secretive texts she brushed off as jokes from colleagues. The sudden headaches when I suggested date nights. The emotional distance I chalked up to stress. I wanted to believe her. I desperately did. But trust doesn't vanish in a dramatic blaze. It fades, crumbles grain by grain, until the collapse feels inevitable. I don't know what to believe, I admitted, hating the tremor in my voice. Katie finally looked at me, really looked at me. Her eyes softened with something like pain, maybe frustration, maybe shame. I couldn't tell. I love you, she whispered. You know that, right? Once, that would have sounded like truth. Tonight, it sounded like a plea. Before I could respond, she stepped closer, placing a hand on my chest. The warmth of her palm sent a confusing wave through me. Comfort, love, betrayal, all mixed together. Come home, she whispered. Let me explain everything. I opened my mouth to speak. But my phone buzzed. A message. From an unknown number. I glanced down. If you think that's bad, you should see what she's been hiding from you. My breath caught. Another message, instantly after. Meet me tomorrow. Alone. Katie's eyes searched my face. What is it? Ethan. I locked the phone instinctively, a chill crawling up my spine. Nothing, I lied. Because I suddenly knew. Whatever this was, whatever she claimed, whatever she smiled at tonight. This wasn't just about Daniel. This was bigger. And someone wanted me to know. The message kept replaying in my mind all night. If you think that's bad, you should see what she's been hiding from you. Sleep didn't come. I lay beside Katie, listening to the rhythmic rise and fall of her breathing, wondering how many nights I'd slept peacefully beside a stranger. Every time I turned, the mattress shifted and she murmured something in her sleep, reaching out instinctively, trying to touch me. I stayed still. The distance between us felt like a canyon. She had no idea I'd woken up to the kind of text that burns through your skull, replacing every certainty you thought you had. By the time morning came, I had made a decision, one I'd never imagined making. I got dressed quietly, pulled on jeans, a jacket, and shoes. Katie stirred as I crept across the room. Ethan. She blinked groggily at the clock. Why are you up so early? I forced my voice to sound normal. I couldn't sleep. Going for a drive. She pushed up on her elbow. Can I come? We could talk. Not right now, I said, too quickly. Hurt flickered through her eyes, but she nodded. Be safe, she whispered. I left before the guilt could choke me. The meeting. The message sender gave a location, the far edge of Riverside Park, near the abandoned boat launch. A strangely cinematic spot for someone trying to expose the truth, but I went anyway. Fog hung over the river, drifting like pale smoke across the water. It muted the world to grey and silver. I stood there, hands shoved in my jacket pockets, my breath visible in the cold air. A figure approached from the path, a woman. Mid-30s. Dark hair tied back, coat pulled tight. Her eyes scanned the area before landing on me. You came, she said. I don't know who you are, I replied. Or what you want. But you texted me. You said my wife. I know what I said. She stopped a few feet away, lowering her hood. Her face was pale, tired. My name's Claire. Okay, I said cautiously. And what does Claire want with my wife? She swallowed before answering. I'm not here because of your wife. A pause. I'm here because of Daniel. At the sound of his name, Something in my stomach tightened. My husband, she added softly. The air seemed to shift around us. You, I blinked. You're married to him? Yes. I took a moment to breathe. So why contact me? Her voice trembled, barely noticeable. Because you saw them last night. And I know what it looked like. I know what it felt like. My fingers curled into fists in my pockets. Is there something between them? She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she reached into her bag and pulled out a small, black USB drive. This, she said, extending it toward me, is what you need to see. I stared at it, dread crawling up my throat. What's on it? Security footage. Emails. Messages. Screenshots. Things I didn't want to know but couldn't ignore anymore. Her voice cracked. Things that involve your wife and my husband. My heart felt like it had been dropped into ice water. No, I muttered, shaking my head. Katie wouldn't. She wouldn't do that. She told me nothing was happening. Claire's eyes softened, not with pity, but with familiarity. I told myself the same thing. For months. But the truth doesn't care what we believe. A gust of wind blew past us. Leaves skittered across the pavement. Take it, she whispered. You deserve to know. My hand shook as I reached out. The drive felt heavier than metal, like a verdict. I'm sorry, Claire said. I really am. Before I could ask anything else, she turned and walked away, disappearing back into the fog, leaving me alone with the truth. Or at least the beginning of it. The footage. I didn't go home. I drove to my office instead. Sunday morning, empty parking lot, quiet halls. I closed myself in my workspace, drew the blinds, and plugged in the drive. Files filled the screen. Folders labeled. Restaurant. Office night. Emails. Messages. Parking lot. My pulse hammered in my ears. I clicked on the first video. It showed Katie and Daniel sitting at a different restaurant. 3 weeks ago. Same smile. Same lean in. Same gestures I thought were mine alone. I clicked another. Katie stepping into Daniel's car outside her office at night. Another. Katie entering a hotel lobby. Daniel walking in 4 minutes later. My chest tightened until it hurt. This wasn't subtle. This wasn't innocent. This wasn't imagination. It was betrayal. A slow, careful, practiced betrayal. I clicked on the messages next. Some were professional. Some weren't. Daniel, I miss talking to you outside the office. Katie, we agreed to keep things simple. Daniel, does last night count as simple? Katie, we said we wouldn't talk about it. Daniel, we also said we'd stop, remember? My vision blurred. I pressed my thumb and forefinger into my eyes until I saw stars. Then came the message that gutted me completely. Katie, I don't want to hurt Ethan. I just need time to figure out what I'm doing. Daniel, I can give you that. As long as you don't shut me out again. A long, shaky breath tore out of my chest. I sat back, staring at the ceiling as my world rearranged itself into something unrecognizable. There was no more rationalizing. No more explaining. No more excuses. She lied. She betrayed me. And she wasn't planning to tell me. I don't remember shutting down the computer. I don't remember walking out. I only remember the cold. The cold outside. The cold inside. The confrontation. When I got home, Katie was waiting at the kitchen table, hands wrapped around a mug of coffee she wasn't drinking. Her eyes were red. Ethan, she said, standing up quickly. I was so worried. Where were you? I dropped the USB on the table. It clattered loudly in the silence. Her face drained of color. What is that? You tell me. She stared at it like it was a snake. I spoke slowly, each word heavy. Claire gave it to me. Katie's lips parted. Her breath stuttered. Oh God. Yeah, I whispered. That's about how it feels. She sank back into her chair, covering her mouth with her shaking hand. Tears pooled instantly. Ethan, please. I can explain. Good, I said. Because right now, I don't know if I'm talking to my wife or a stranger. Her shoulders crumpled. I never meant for any of it to happen, she whispered. It started months ago. I was lonely. We were distant. We barely talked anymore. I felt invisible and Daniel was just there. So you smiled at him the way you used to smile at me? I asked bitterly. She flinched like I slapped her. I'm sorry, she cried, tears spilling over. I swear I never meant to fall into anything. It wasn't supposed to go that far. So it did go that far. Her silence was an answer. I turned away, gripping the counter to steady myself. Betrayal hits like a slow poison. You don't feel the full weight immediately, but once it sinks in, there's no antidote. Ethan, please look at me. I didn't. Please, she begged, voice breaking. I love you. I never stopped loving you. I was confused and stupid and selfish and I hated myself the whole time. My laugh came out as a broken sound. You hated yourself. Try being me for 1 second. She rushed to stand behind me, reaching for my shoulders. I'll do anything. Therapy. Counseling. I'll quit my job. I'll block him. I'll never see him again. Just, please, don't leave me. I closed my eyes. I wanted to walk out the door. To let it all burn. To leave her crying on the floor the way she left my trust. But my legs wouldn't move. My heart wouldn't move. Because beneath the heartbreak, the confusion, the rage, there was still love. Shattered, bleeding, wounded, but alive. And that was the cruelest part. Finally, I turned around. Katie's eyes held desperation and fear. She looked smaller than I'd ever seen her. Ethan, she whispered. Please don't go. I studied her, really studied her. The trembling lips. The red eyes. The raw regret. I could see she meant it. I could see she was terrified. I could see she was broken too. And I realized something brutal. There are 2 kinds of heartbreak. The one where you lose the person you love. And the one where you lose the person you thought they were. I had lost the second. And now I had to decide what to do with the first. I stepped toward the door. Katie made a strangled sound and took a step after me. Ethan, please, don't do this. I stopped. Hand on the doorknob. Then I said the truth, the twist she never expected. I'm not leaving forever. She froze. I turned my head slightly, my voice low, steady, honest in a way that hurt to hear. But I'm not staying either. Her breath hitched. I need time, I said. Not to forgive you. Not yet. Maybe not ever. I paused. I need time to figure out if the love I have for you is enough to survive the person you became. Katie let out a sob, collapsing to her knees as I opened the door. Ethan, please, don't walk away, don't leave me. I stepped outside. And this time, she didn't stop me.